You're not real. At least, not the version of you that's controlling your money right now. That person? The one who flinches when they check their bank balance? Who scrolls past investment advice? Who says, I'm just not good with money? That's not you, that's a program. And I can prove it. Pull up your bank statement right now. Go ahead. Look at the last 30 days of transactions. Coffee on Tuesday morning. Takeout Thursday night. That thing you bought on Amazon at 11 p.m. that you barely remember ordering. Now ask yourself, did you consciously decide each of those purchases? Or did something else decide for you? Here's what nobody tells you about financial struggle. It's not about discipline. It's not about willpower. It's not even about money. You're living in a simulation, a neural simulation, built by your own brain, running on autopilot, making thousands of financial decisions before your conscious mind even shows up. And the worst part? You think those decisions are yours? Your brain is running a money script right now. Not a metaphorical script, an actual neurological program, a sequence of automatic responses hardwired into your default mode network. Stop. The default mode network is the brain's autopilot system. It runs when you're not actively paying attention. It manages routine decisions. It predicts what comes next based on what came before. And it's making almost every financial decision you think you're making. Here's the mechanism. Every time you encounter a financial choice, your DMN fires first, before conscious thought. It runs a pattern-matching algorithm against your entire history of money experiences. Then it generates a predicted outcome and an automatic response. All of this happens in under 400 milliseconds. Your conscious mind, the part of you that believes it's in control, arrives about 200 milliseconds later. By then, the decision is already made. You just think you made it. This is called automaticity, and it's why every budget you've ever tried has failed. You weren't fighting bad habits. You were fighting a simulation that's been running since childhood. Here's where it gets worse. Your money script isn't based on your current reality. It's based on pattern repetition. The DMN doesn't care that you make more money now than you did 5 years ago. It doesn't update for new information. It only knows stimulus, response, repeat. And the stimulus response loop you've been repeating? That's not programming yourself for wealth. That's programming yourself to stay exactly where you are. Let me show you what this looks like. You get paid on Friday. Direct deposit hits your account at 6 a.m. You check your phone. You see the number. And in that exact moment, before you even think about bills, before you consciously plan anything, your nervous system makes a decision. It decides whether that number feels like enough or not enough. Not based on math, based on pattern recognition. If your DMN has encoded money disappears, it triggers a cascade. Cortisol spikes. Your amygdala flags the moment as precarious. And your automatic response fires. Spend it before it's gone. Not because you're irresponsible, because your brain is executing the program it learned. Now picture this. You're standing in line at a coffee shop. You've been here 100 times. Same order, same price, you hand over your card without thinking. The transaction takes 4 seconds. But here's what just happened neurologically. Your DMN predicted the entire sequence before you walked in the door. Stimulus, coffee shop. Response, buy coffee. Reward prediction, dopamine hit from the ritual. The decision was made before you crossed the threshold. You just experienced it as a choice. This isn't weakness, this is Hebbian learning. Neurons that fire together wire together. Every time you execute the same financial behavior, you strengthen the circuit. The pathway gets faster, the automation gets deeper, the simulation runs smoother. By the time you're 30, you've executed thousands of identical transactions. Your brain has optimized the process. It can run your entire financial life without you. Let that sink in. This is why you can't remember where your money went. You weren't there when the decisions were made. The simulation was running, you were just watching. Now here's the part that makes this devastating. The script doesn't just control spending. It controls what you see as possible. Your DMN builds predictive models of the future based on past patterns. If you've never invested, it can't generate a predictive model for investor. If you've never built wealth, it can't simulate wealthy person. So when you try to think about investing, your brain literally cannot construct the scenario. It has no pattern to reference, no neural pathway to fire. Instead, it defaults to the existing script. I'm not the type of person who does that. That sentence, that's not your belief. That's your default mode network protecting its simulation. Because new behaviors require new circuits. And new circuits are metabolically expensive. Your brain is optimized for efficiency, not growth. So it runs the simulation it already has, over and over, until the simulation becomes your identity. Let's get clinical. The default mode network includes the medial prefrontal cortex, the posterior cingulate cortex, and the angular gyrus. These regions activate during self-referential thinking. When you think about who you are, what you believe, what's normal for you, and they fire strongest when you're on autopilot. Studies show that the DMN consumes up to 60 to 80% of the brain's total energy, even when you're doing nothing. It's constantly running simulations, predicting outcomes, reinforcing identity. Here's the mechanism that traps you. When you encounter a financial stimulus, a price tag, a bill, an investment opportunity, your brain runs a prediction. It asks, what happens next based on past patterns? If the past pattern is, I can't afford this, your anterior cingulate cortex fires a conflict signal. Your amygdala tags the situation as threatening. Your insula generates a visceral no response, the gut-level rejection you feel before you even think. Then dopamine circuits kick in, but not reward dopamine, prediction error dopamine. Your brain expected you to avoid the financial stimulus. When you do, dopamine confirms. Prediction correct, pattern maintained. This is loss aversion at the neural level. Not just Kahneman and Tversky's behavioral economics. Actual neurochemistry. Your brain treats financial growth as a threat to the simulation, because growth requires prediction error. And prediction error is neurologically expensive. Wait, now let me show you. Neuroplasticity research from Carol Dweck and others shows that the brain can rewire, but only under specific conditions. You need 3 elements: attention, repetition, and reward. Most people try to change financial behavior with willpower. That's using the prefrontal cortex to override the DMN. It works for maybe 72 hours, then the simulation reasserts control. Because you're not changing the script, you're just fighting it. The only way to rewrite the program is to build a new circuit, strong enough to compete with the old one. That requires deliberate, repeated pattern interruption. Not motivation, neurological interference. Here's the protocol. Step 1, name the simulation. For the next 7 days, every time you make a financial decision, buying coffee, skipping an investment, checking your account, say out loud, the simulation is running. Not as self-judgment, as observation. You're not trying to stop the behavior, you're trying to catch the automation. The moment you name it, you pull your conscious awareness into the DMN's territory. That creates interference. That's the first step to circuit disruption. Step 2, the 10-second gap. Before any purchase over $20, insert a 10-second pause. Physically count to 10. Do nothing else. This isn't about deciding not to buy. It's about inserting delay into the automation. The DMN runs fast because it's optimized. Delay breaks optimization. Neuroscience shows that even brief pauses allow the prefrontal cortex to come online. That's the region responsible for executive control. It can't override the DMN permanently, but it can vote. 10 seconds is long enough for conscious choice to enter the simulation. Step 3, pattern substitution. Pick one automated financial behavior. 1. The coffee run. The late night scroll and buy. The I'll just check my balance anxiety loop. For 21 days, replace that behavior with a new one. Not eliminate, replace. Example, instead of checking your bank balance first thing in the morning, open a compound interest calculator. Enter any number, watch it grow. Close the app. Same stimulus, morning, phone, financial anxiety. New response. That's Hebbian rewiring. You're not fighting the circuit, you're building a competing one. After 21 repetitions, the new pathway begins to automate. After 90, it competes for dominance. After 180 days, it becomes the simulation. Step 4, predictive rewrite. Your DMN builds its simulation from the stories you tell about yourself. So start telling a different story. Every night before sleep, say one sentence out loud. I am the type of person who builds wealth. Not I want to. Not I should. Not I'm trying to. Use present tense, identity language. This sounds like affirmation garbage. It's not. It's memory consolidation hacking. Sleep is when the brain strengthens the day's neural patterns. If the last thing you encode before sleep is a new identity statement, your DMN incorporates it into overnight consolidation. You're literally reprogramming the simulation during system maintenance. Step 5, evidence logging. The DMN resists new identities because it has no pattern to reference. So create one. Keep a running note on your phone. Title it, Evidence I am building wealth. Every time you delay a purchase, log it. Every time you transfer $10 to savings, log it. Every time you read about investing instead of scrolling, log it. You're not tracking outcomes, you're tracking behaviors. Because behavior is what the DMN encodes. After 30 days, you'll have 30 pieces of evidence that contradict the old simulation. Your brain can't ignore its own data. That's the raw material for neural rewiring. Read that again. You're not becoming a different person. You're giving your brain evidence that you already are. Imagine waking up 90 days from now. Same apartment, same job, same bank account balance, maybe. But the script is different. The automation has shifted. You reach for your phone in the morning, and instead of dread, there's curiosity. Not because anything external changed, because the simulation rewrote itself. And here's the truth nobody tells you. Once the new circuit is strong enough, you don't have to fight anymore. The automation works for you. Wealth building becomes the default. Not because you're disciplined, because you reprogram the system. That's not motivation. That's neuroscience. You've been living in a simulation. The good news, you wrote the code, which means you can rewrite it. If this landed, subscribe. Not because I need your engagement, because subscribing is an act of pattern interruption. It's you telling your default mode network, I'm aware, I'm interfering, I'm taking the system offline. Every video on this channel is designed to disrupt your financial automation, to show you where the simulation is running, to give you the neurological tools to rewrite it. This isn't content, this is deprogramming. Most people will watch this video and go back to autopilot by tomorrow morning. The simulation will reassert control. The script will keep running, but not you. You're here because some part of you already knows. The program is breakable, the wiring is changeable, the simulation is not permanent. So do the protocol. Name the automation, insert the gap, build the competing circuit, rewrite the prediction, and in 90 days come back and tell me what happened. Tell me what you saw when the simulation finally glitched. Because that's when the real you shows up. That's when you stop living in autopilot. And that's when everything changes.